In a luxurious New York restaurant, the clinking of glass plates echoed, and although the room seemed silent, the heart of billionaire CEO Liam Carter was filled with noise as he sat alone. Known for his ruthless business decisions and cold demeanor, he had sworn off love years ago, but tonight, he broke his own rule and agreed to one last blind date. Though deep inside, he expected the same kind of selfish woman as always. Yet the moment the door opened and Ava Collins walked in, soaked from the rain, with a strange calmness in her eyes, Liam felt something he hadn't felt in years. Curiosity. This was no ordinary blind date. Ava Collins wasn't like the women Liam was used to. No designer bag, no flashy jewelry, just a simple navy dress, worn heels, and an aura of dignity that stood out more than diamonds ever could. She worked as a nurse in a children's hospital, spending nights caring for patients instead of chasing luxury. When she sat across from Liam, her warm smile softened the air around his icy presence. She didn't recognize him as the feared CEO dominating Wall Street. She only saw a man with tired eyes. Their conversation began awkwardly. He spoke in sharp, clipped tones while she answered with kindness and genuine interest. Yet as the minutes stretched into hours, Liam realized Ava wasn't impressed by his wealth or reputation. She asked about his dreams, his regrets, his humanity. For the first time in a decade, someone was seeing Liam the man, not Carter the billionaire. Just as Liam began lowering his walls, Ava revealed a truth that nearly shattered the moment. She wasn't supposed to be here tonight. The blind date invitation was originally meant for her best friend, but circumstances forced her to step in at the last minute. "I thought you'd leave when you saw me," she admitted quietly. "I'm not the kind of woman men like you date." Liam's pride flared. He had built his empire by trusting no one, and now he questioned if this entire meeting was some kind of setup. For the first time, Ava saw the steel return to his gaze. But before the night could fall apart, a call came through on her phone. An emergency at the hospital. Without hesitation, Ava stood up to leave, apologizing for wasting his time. Liam, stunned by her sudden urgency and selflessness, was left staring after her, torn between his old instincts and this strange new pull in his chest. "Miles, you're hurt." He shook his head. "I'll heal. But you would have been gone tonight if I hadn't walked in." His voice carried no arrogance, only fact. Only the gravity of what had nearly happened. Her heart skipped. The thought of being erased, her name only remembered in newspaper headlines, terrified her more than the attack itself. For the first time, Isabella felt the fragility of life. The office lights flickered as if the building itself had witnessed the horror. Outside, sirens wailed faintly, growing distant as police cars disappeared into the Chicago night. Inside, however, the world had shrunk to just two souls, the billionaire, CEO, and the janitor who had rewritten her fate. "You don't understand," she said, her voice trembling. "People don't do this for me. They don't risk themselves." Miles's gaze darkened, but not with anger, with truth. "Maybe that's because they only see your power, your money. But I don't care about any of that. I just saw a woman who needed help." Her breath caught. His words stripped away the armor she had built around herself, the image of an untouchable leader. In his eyes, she wasn't a CEO. She wasn't an empire builder. She was human, vulnerable, real. A silence stretched between them, but it wasn't empty. It was charged alive, like electricity sparking in the air. Isabella felt something stirring deep inside her, something she hadn't felt in years, trust. Then came the reveal she never expected. Miles glanced at her wheelchair, his expression unreadable. "You remind me of someone," he admitted quietly. "My late sister. She couldn't walk either. I swore I'd always protect people like her. That's why I couldn't just stand by tonight." Isabella's breath hitched, her eyes widening. The revelation pierced through the fog of fear. This wasn't random. This wasn't coincidence. Fate had pulled him into her life at the exact moment she needed saving. Her hand, still trembling, moved to her chest. She felt her heartbeat, fast, alive, renewed. The billionaire, who had always been surrounded by bodyguards, by men who bowed to her wealth, had been rescued by someone who owed her nothing. Tears welled in her eyes, uninvited, unstoppable. She turned away quickly, ashamed to let him see. But Miles didn't look away. He stood tall, bruised and battered, but unshaken. For the first time, Isabella saw what true strength looked like. And in that moment, she understood. The empire she had built could fall tomorrow. The wealth could vanish, but Courage like his could never be bought. Her lips trembled as she whispered again, "Why? Why you?" Miles answered without hesitation. "Because sometimes, the people you least expect are the ones who change everything." The words echoed in her soul. Long after the night ended, long after the police reports were filed and the building went silent, those words would haunt her. Not as a curse, but as a promise, for in one unforgettable night the masks of power and weakness had been torn away, and Isabella Grant, the woman who once believed she had everything, discovered the one thing she never truly possessed, someone willing to risk it all, just to make sure she lived to see another dawn. Weeks turned into months, yet the memory of that night in Dawson Tower refused to fade. Isabella Grant, once known as the iron-hearted CEO of Chicago, found her heart softening in ways she never thought possible. She visited Miles Carter and his daughter Ava often, not as a billionaire towering above them, but as a woman learning what family, sacrifice, and kindness truly meant. At first, Ava was shy around her, hiding behind her father's arm, but soon her innocent laughter filled the silence Isabella's penthouse had carried for years. Isabella discovered she loved the sound, more than the applause of boardrooms or the chatter of investors. Miles, though rough around the edges, carried a wisdom she had never learned in Ivy League halls. He taught her that real power wasn't in wealth but in giving, in standing tall when the world tried to break you. One evening, as they shared dinner overlooking the sparkling Chicago skyline, Isabella spoke words she never imagined leaving her lips. "Miles, you didn't just save my life that night, you saved me from myself." Tears glistened in her eyes, not of weakness but of release. Miles looked at her, silent, humbled, his rough hands resting on the table, while Ava slipped her tiny fingers into Isabella's palm, a gesture so simple yet so profound that Isabella's chest ached with a warmth she hadn't felt since childhood. The empire she once guarded so fiercely began to transform, not into bigger skyscrapers or profit margins, but into a legacy of compassion. She invested in Miles's dream, building a community center where single parents, the forgotten, and the vulnerable could find support and strength. The opening day, standing beside Miles and Ava as the ribbon was cut, Isabella felt something she never felt even after her greatest corporate victories: pride, not in herself, but in what they had created together. The woman who once whispered in fear, "Please don't hurt me, I can't walk," now stood with courage blazing in her eyes. She no longer defined herself by what she had lost, but by what she had gained: connection, humanity, and a family she never thought she'd deserve. As the crowd applauded, Isabella glanced at Miles, her voice steady, her heart clear. "You showed me that even the strongest need saving sometimes, and you gave me the chance to become someone worth saving." Under the glowing lights of Chicago, with Ava's laughter echoing and Miles's steady presence by her side, Isabella Grant realized her true empire was not built on money or power, but on love, resilience, and the quiet heroism of a single father who changed everything. "Please don't hurt me, I can't walk." Her white suit was stained with dirt and tears, golden hair clinging to her face, and her left ankle badly swollen. In the glare of the headlights, the approaching man's long shadow stretched across the walls like a looming monster. His footsteps were heavy, his breathing sharp and unsteady. The woman curled up helplessly, and at that very moment an unexpected figure appeared, one who was about to change everything.